Well, hi, good morning. Thanks so much for joining me and my cat in my shop. We're going to start looking at this record player that's in front of us. Probably the simplest looking record player I've ever seen. Just a square box. What are you after there, Peanut? There's a couple knobs down below. You can see it looks like it has 3 speakers in it, although I kind of doubt that. And it looks to me like those spindly legs are not original. That's how it looks to me. Looks like this is really a tabletop style player. Let's take a look inside. Let's look inside, Peanut. There we are. It is up. Oh, there's a record on it. So, this is a Seabreeze record player. It's pretty sticky, really sticky. I would expect this to just swing over this way. Has a pretty light tone arm, and looks like you can change the needle here somehow. Tip this right up. It's a flip needle. That's right, Peanut. Held in some unusual way there. Four speeds. It's caught in the mechanism right now. Okay, let's see what's going on here. My gosh, it actually has. Whoops. I wouldn't have believed that. It actually has. Come on, camera. You can do it. Ah. 3 out of focus speakers in there. Come on, camera. There we go. 3 speakers. I'm stunned. Okay. That's pretty surprising. It's a little surprising how easy it was to lift this piece of wood out of there, too. It was glued in place. Okay, so down underneath must be the amplifier. Tip this up. You can see the Seabreeze plaque there. It would strike me, I've got to get in the bottom. I see a screw here, here, here. Perhaps we lift the whole board right up and out. I think that's what has to happen. You do these screws and lift the whole board out. Amplifier might be attached to it. I'm tempted to plug this in, but the report from the owner was they'd accidentally left it playing one night, overnight, and the next morning it did not work. Now what exactly is meant by that? I can't recall now if they described it. Did not work. It meant the platter had stopped, no sound was coming out, or what? I can't recall now. Okay, so I'm going to see about taking those screws out and see if the whole deck comes out. So I've taken out the 6 screws, but before lifting anything, I thought it might be a good idea to look at the back of this guy here. There's a Seabreeze Manufacturing Limited, Toronto, Canada, model number 555. And power cord. A little bit of a grill here. You really see these legs, they just don't seem to match at all. So if we just take that grill off and peek inside. What I'm kind of wondering is, if I lift the deck board with the record player up. Will the amplifier go with it? There's the amplifier right here. Got three, looks almost like three output tubes. One's probably a rectifier and the other two may be output tubes. Filter capacitor, why is it so loose like that? And this looks like a resistor, an unusual kind of resistor here. There's some vent openings here. It's like a box with the tubes. I guess intended to vent the tubes out, keep the heat from going inside. I guess that's what they were trying to do. It's like a tin box, but so I think I can lift the deck out. The cord is free. If this starts moving with the deck, which I don't think it will, maybe it all comes out together. Okay, so I'm going to try to lift this out. No doubt there's wires underneath. There's got to be a power wire. There's got to be a wire for the audio. So I think first I'm going to try and lift the record player itself and just see what happens here. Okay, the whole board's coming out with it, so we carry on like that. Oh, wait a minute. Probably locked in there somehow. Okay, if we just tilt the board up and take a peek under there. There's a complete amplifier in there. There's a couple of plugs. Let's see. Plug here. Oh. Amplifiers in a couple different chassis, because there's a chassis for the control, tone and volume controls. Okay, and then this one over here. There you go. I think that frees up the record player to come right out. Okay, record player, come right out. Go. Just going to set this on my bench. What do we see now? Amplifier. All the original capacitors in it. It's probably a Hummer, I would have to guess. And if we look down here, you can see the little box with the tone control. It's got a couple more capacitors. A little bit of dust built up in here, not too much. Some kind of a stain. I don't know what that would be. Looks like this is held in with two screws here. There's a couple screws here. It looks like this lower chassis pulls away from the metal box that was covering the tubes. So actually it's a clever way to keep the heat out and not let it come in. And this guy, there's no plugs, these are wires. They're all stapled down here. This comes out, this is the speaker. Goes to the speakers. How have they done the speakers here? 3 speakers. Could all be in parallel. Okay, there's something odd here. What's this? Oh, this is a needle box. It's all taped up. Somebody has put a spare something in here. To be found by somebody like me, I guess. Huh. Okay, put that on the bench. That's surprising. Hey, is there any other goodies? I'm usually looking for, $1,000 bills or little bars of gold, but no. It's a little wobbly on the legs too. Legs are a little loose, that's why. Okay, looks like a simple matter of just releasing the wires, popping out a few screws, and there's 2 screws holding this down. Just pop those out, and the whole thing can come out. As for the speakers, they appear to be simply wired in parallel. 3 of them. So you could guess they must have a fairly high impedance, each one of them. You put 3 in parallel, you really drop the impedance. Okay, so I'm going to leave this in here for now. I'm going to take a look at the record player and sort out what we've really got going up here. It's a bit of a long shot at it. Here's the mystery box. That's probably the coolest thing I've ever found hidden inside something. In fact, I don't think I've ever found anything cool hidden inside something. There's not much holding this on. Let's take a look at that first. Let's see what's holding the board on. So there's a locking nut, if you like, here, and another one here. These look like these are riveted into the metal record player deck. So now, do I need to take this off? Probably not. Not right at this moment, anyway. We'll leave it as is. I'm checking to see if this is stereo or not. I think not, maybe. A little hard to see under there. It's got 3 pins here though. This end. It looks like it's arranged that it could do stereo. We've got the 2 shielded wires here. But it looks like only a mono from the cartridge. That's what it looks like. Okay. This is the power. 3 wires because there's probably the switch involved in here that will turn the unit off, on and off, when you operate the mechanical switch. This one here, or which one? Let's take a look. There's an on-off right here. A reject switch. And then this is the speeds. 33, 45, 78. They didn't bother with 16. Why not? Could it be that there's no 16-speed records? I have one 16-speed record. Okay, the motor's not jammed. Everything looks okay. Doesn't look bad at all. Looks like there's lubrication. No, it's all dried up. Pretty dry anyway. Just checking a few key spots. Yeah, of course the lubrication is dried up. Okay. Very good. Why wouldn't this come up and swing over? There it goes. think maybe I didn't lift it quite high enough. That's all. I just didn't get it up high enough. Okay, but it's definitely sticky. When we take this record off, feels like a 78 record. Non-breakable under normal use. Made in Canada by Quality Records. Sylvana Mangano sings I loved you. It's in the past. I loved you. Not anymore. Sylvano Mangano sings Anna. Direct from the original soundtrack of the film Anna. Metrolite non-breakable under normal use. I'm sure this is a 78 speed record. Okay. Get this off. Easy enough. And we'll take a look at what's happening underneath. This should just lift up. Just come right off, easy as can be. Has a felt sort of clothy cover on it. It's in pretty good shape. There we are. Yeah. Okay, that was a camera falling over behind me. Okay. Let's flip this around this way. So it has an intermediate wheel. All feels normal. So I'm checking it for its how hard it is. It's pretty hard on the surface. Pretty rubbery in behind though. So you might be able to restore this fairly easily. There's quite a bit of oil down in here, so perhaps somebody has oiled it at some point. This is right on the motor spindle. There's a number of different steps here for different speeds. Let's move the speed control. So this plate is going up and down, bringing different diameters of the spindle into contact with the wheel. Everything seems good. More lubrication here that's just about gone hard, not quite. Okay, well, I don't see anything serious going on here. Maybe we should really set this aside for now and focus on the amplifier. See what we can do with that. Okay, let's try that again. Here comes the amplifier. Didn't see that tube before. This tube's suspicious here. This is not so good. Why so loose? That's a rectifier tube. These are probably I'm going to guess 6V6s. That's a 35L6 is what these actually are. And what about this one here? Wow.
12AX7. Maybe it's okay. What I saw was that the top of it is completely clear. That's usually where the getter is, up in the top. It's here on the side. Can't tell for sure. And then there's this part here, which is basically a resistor, probably dropping line voltage so it can meet up with the tube complement. And what is this? This is the rectifier tube. 35Z5. So you've got 35. Did I say 35 for these two? I think I did. 35. So you got 35, 35, and 35. That adds to what? 105? 105, and then you add in the 12, 105, it's 117. That's right on the money. So I'm not sure what this guy's all about. Underneath, looking almost like the day they built it. They're just completely clean in here. We have the 4 capacitors. This one, for instance, popped its end out here. They appear to be in great shape. Doesn't mean they're good, but they appear to be in great shape. Arrow capacitors from the Arrow Radio Company, made in Canada, Toronto. Made in Toronto. The audio controls are just a single channel, unless these are 2 separate volume controls, which I can't imagine. No, they're different. One's a volume control, one's a tone control. Left a screw in there. So it's a mono player with 3 speakers. Yeah, how do you get stereo to 3 speakers anyway? So why is this so loose? Well, it's possible it's been replaced once. It doesn't really have the look of replacement, but it's not. It's kind of odd, actually. It's got some tabs there that should be twisted, but they're not twisted. Like somebody put it in and didn't bother. So maybe it is a replacement. This is a typical part to be replaced. 40-40-20. 40-40 would be the power supply filter. It's got this large resistor here. It's got quite a few of them. 1, 2, 3, 4 large high wattage resistors. They don't look burned or anything. And then we have that thing that I think is a resistor. That's the end of it down here. It's supported by a metal plate as if it's bound to get hot. So I think it is probably a resistor doing something. Dissipating a lot of wattage is what it's doing. More so than a regular resistor. Okay, take a little closer look at this. 1, 2, and 1 highly more reliable resistor. That's all. Okay, so I'm going to stop for a bit, ponder my next move, and then we'll carry on. Well, since the complaint about this record player is it stopped working, I suspect probably, just a wild guess, the rectifier tube is defective. So why not test all these tubes before we go any further? That sounds like a good idea to me. So we're going to start with the 2 output tubes here. 35L6. Let's just check the settings. So 35 volts. Switch it on. 35 volts. JR. Heater connections. 3547. 3547 with a 0. 39 on the bias setting, 87 for the English, and it should be 3600 as a reject point. So we have to be on the 6000 scale, where it is. Let's see what kind of condition these guys are in. 35L6. I'm not sure I've got any of those tubes, but maybe. Okay, I can see it's heating up. Watch the short light. Okay, that's indicating a good tube, as long as the light doesn't stay on. P4, so 36 is about here, and a really good tube would be a 58, just about off screen here, just about off the meter rather. Okay, so it's, you know, it's a worn down tube, but still operating. Okay. That's not too bad, actually. We have to actually run the amplifier with the speakers to really... No, I'm just getting the other tube out of there. Just make sure it's the right tube. 35L6, of course. Hey, stranger things have happened. And it goes. Okay, it's heating up. Just give it a moment here. Now, by rights, you should let a tube sit in one of these machines for a fair length of time. But I don't have a fair length of time. Here we go. Shorts. Okay, it's flashing, which is good. P4, again, 36. Very similar to the other tube. So they're just towards the end of their life. But, you know, you could get another, who knows how many hours out of these. And compensation is simply turning up the volume a little bit. So this is a rectifier tube, 35Z5. Okay, let's look for that on here, 35Z5. So the first test is, I should show a short on every setting here. JR0537. 0537. 0. Nothing else matters. Okay, we put it in. I don't think it's going to heat. We should find a short on every setting. Ooh. Wait, what's going on there? Shorts on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well, there's no short on 2. It is heating. No short on 2. Well, that might indicate that the tube has a problem. I was suspicious that the rectifier tube has a problem. Now we'll do the actual real rectifier. 0507. 0507. That's the only difference. 60 on the English. Press P3, rectifier, good. Rectifier, good. How about the missing short on number 2? Well, I guess we just have to leave this with a question mark and not much more. But as a rectifier, it seems to be in very good shape. Okay, last tube to check is the 12AX7. Just be absolutely sure. 12AX7. So before I forget, let's put that down to 12. And then we're going to go looking for 12. AX7. Here we are. It's a total of 1, 2. Oh, that's a Y. 2 tests. 12.6 EV. $7608. $7608. 8 with a 0, 12, 58, not that it matters. So EV7608, EV7608 with a 0, 12. Okay. Put this in the socket. So this is clearly the preamp tube, the one that takes a signal right from the cartridge, boosts it up to a satisfactory level so it's going to be applied to the grid of the two 35L6 output tubes. And the output from those tubes drives the speaker. So this one should come up 790 when I run the test. So somewhere in this area. I'm on the 3000 scale now, so somewhere right in here. Shorts? Any shorts in there? No? So it's above the reject point. A good tube would be 1250. So 1250 is up a little higher. That's one section. Now the next section is 2103. 2, 1, 0, 3. 12 and 58 remain the same. Let's just do the short check again, just in case. And away we go. Same as the other side. 790, so it's up around 1000. So tube's working. It's going to do the job. Tubes are probably not the problem here with this. It could be the problem is the record player doesn't turn, and it's not really the amplifier. I can't remember what I was told now. That's okay. It all needs to be checked over. Okay, the next step here, I think, is going to be plugging all this together, making it operate here on my bench, and then we'll see what's up with it. Before I do any work on it. Okay, I think we're ready to give this a go. I've got it plugged into some dim bulbs over here. So when I first turn it on, you should be able to see these bulbs. Let me undo one of them. This bulb should come on with some, should come on a little bright and then quickly dull down. This is set to 78. The speed here. I have some trouble changing the speed unless it's running. Okay, so the first step is to supply some power. I'm going to turn it on manual. This should make the record player turn. And it may make the light come on. Let's see what happens. No turning of the record player, and that light is on awfully bright. Not a very good sign. Let's put on another light bulb here in parallel. This will put more power to the motor. And we'll see what happens. It's trying. Okay, that's good. Well, it's not good, but it's easy to fix up. I'm giving it a little helping hand. Ow! It bit me. There we go. Now, it's still set to 33, so I'm going to lift this up awfully slow. Put this on 78. I'm going to put the power on full because the bulbs are dim. That should help the motor. Whoops. And the record player decided the record was over. Okay, we're going to lift. There we go. Now we're cooking. Let me put this up here. Volume control. Pretty sure I won't get a copyright hit on this. might get a copyright hit on that, believe it or not. What's the problem? Can still get a copyright hit. So the record player is a little rumbly and noisy, but that's kind of to be expected, especially at 78. Let's make it turn itself off here. Actually, it'll try playing it again. Yeah. Well, at 78, whoosh, everything goes quick. Swing this over and down. I could get a hit from that. So with this down, the record player will think there's no more records to play. It should shut everything off. Here we go. And watch your hand, Jim, because it's fast. There we go. It's all shut off. Well, the complaint was it didn't work anymore after being left on all night. See, another interesting thing, let me just shut the power off here, and that is in here is the missing lock piece. There was a lock piece missing. Not anymore. Well, I think what I should do is just do the regular maintenance activities with something like this. Change all these capacitors to get rid of them. We'll take one out and test it and see what condition one of them is in. If it tests really good, it's possible leaving them in is a sensible thing to do. I should do all the relubrication and maintenance on the record player. But surprisingly enough, I don't see that there's anything significantly wrong here. Oh my gosh. How do you like that? Maybe we'll take a look at the needle under the microscope. The great thing is the cartridge is working. Wow. Okay, now I gotta stop and think because it's not quite what I expected. I expected a lot more trouble here. Let's take a look at what's in this little box. Maybe this is where the bar of gold is hidden. Of course, now that I put it on video, I'd have to turn the bar of gold over. Well, it's a needle. It's a brand new needle. Sonotone 2T, diamond and sapphire. This is French down here. And I'm not going to try to read it, but it looks like it says a diamond something or other every 6 months. Brand new. How do you like that, eh? Well, the next step then, yeah, I don't think it's been opened. I think that's brand new. The next step is to examine the needle that's in there. Wow, this is really quite a surprise. I wonder if that's always been in there, or if somebody purchased this and put it in there at some point along the way. Doesn't look like there's been any work done on this record player though, so I don't know what to think. Isn't that something? Who'd have thought? I wouldn't have thought that. Now let's see if we can get the needle out of here. So I've turned off and unplugged the player. You know what? We need to take a close look at that, because we do. Okay, so we're going to take a close look at the needle to see how it's clipped in there. There's a big cat walking around upstairs now. Well, it looks pretty tempting to just flip this back here. Can't say I've ever seen one quite like this. Just move my light. Well, this over piece, it's riveted down there. It's just supposed to be kind of holding the needle in, so it doesn't fall out. It's kind of a weird material. The shaft part coming out of the pipe. What do they got the pipe stuffed with in there? Looks to me like you just push this black covering spring basically away and then draw out the needle. That's what it looks like to me. And there's something a little more in there. Okay, let's try that. The needle's not held in very tight at all. Yeah, that's exactly how it's done. Here it is. Okay, we're going to take a look at that under the close-up camera, but then we're going to look at it under the microscope a moment later. Here it is under the what I like to call my close-up camera. Well, you can see the needle there. That looks awfully worn to me. Now that, gotta think about this now. You can see it says LP on one side. It's going to say, oh, LP, LP. Well, I expected it to say 78 there. Let's look at these two. The one that's in the package mentions sapphire, but this one looks like it's diamond on both sides. Maybe not. The one to the right looks like a finer tip to me in this view. I can get my camera just a little bit closer here before we try the microscope. Just 1 second here. I have to change the focus setting on the camera. Okay. Well, that looks awfully worn, the one that's pointing up. That looks terribly worn in this view. I need to look at it more closely, but flip it over, look at the other needle. Now they're not positioned exactly opposite each other, and that's because they can't be. You have to, like the needle, the shaft part of the needle goes through the arm here, so they have to be offset a little bit. This one looks sharper, but it looks worn down to me, and a little point. Yeah, we need to look at this under the microscope to really see what's going on. Hey, why don't we just take the other one out? There's a good idea. Take the other one out. Again. And take a look at it. What's happened here? I can't open the package. There we go. I don't want to take it out of the package if I don't have to. Let's see if we can see it through the package. I just want to know if it's new, or is this an old one and somebody put it in the package? Can't really see it, can we? Okay, so the package is partly open anyway. Let me shake it out. Oh yeah, it comes right out. Well, it looks shiny new. First of all, they do look identical. The arm is bent off to the side, and it looks like the material. Oh, there's something missing on this one. Yeah, I think this is broken right off. Let me get the other one in my hand here. I'll put them side by side. Don't think I can get them mixed up now. Well, why would somebody bother saving? There's quite a bit missing from that other one. The new one's not so new. It's got a funny angle on it. I think probably what happened was it got abused one time, broke the tip off, and tipped the shaft on an angle and pulled some of that stuffing material, which looks different on this one, out. So, and then for some inexplicable reason, they put it in the little box that probably the other one came in, and stuck it in the machine, probably laughing, going, someday somebody will find this and they'll think it's a good needle. Well, the joke's on them, because I figured it out. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing left of the other one. Now we're looking at the one that's in the record player. It doesn't look that worn in this view, does it? Sorry I'm shaking a little bit, but... Now let's put it under the microscope. Too bad. The Zafira is junk. Now this one says 78 on one side, and the other side says LP. So the thing about it is the diamond needles are harder and are much sharper and go into a LP, long playing record, and the modern LP records, modern from today, can withstand the sharp needle going through it. The 78s, the speed is far greater, and the idea was use a softer needle, a sapphire, and wear the needle out instead of wearing out the record. I think that was the idea. That came from the steel needle predecessor, where you just used a steel needle. You buy them a couple hundred at a time in a little container. You play one or two sides of a record and you change the needle. And the idea there was the needle's wearing out and the record's not. That kind of thing. Okay, let's look at it under the microscope. See what we see. Okay, let's take a look at this under the microscope. Here. Yeah, just show you before I do that. This is what I've got it under. Right there. Okay, focus is in. Well, this looks pretty good, actually. One side. So let me explain what you're seeing. So if we start with the cantilever shaft that the two needles are connected to, and the next thing you see is a what I call that, a straight tubular piece. It's long. It's the longest part of the needle that's sticking out. Then you see a conical area. On the right, you can see a bit of a red light coming out of it a little bit, and then the next thing you see right towards the tip is the actual diamond. So there's actually three different materials in there. The diamond is just the very tip. The redness makes me think that is sapphire, but the needle just says LP on both sides. Just double checking that. Yeah. That's odd. Needs a little bit of cleaning, so I think I'm going to clean it and then we'll take another look at it. So the way I'm going to clean this is just with alcohol on a paintbrush, a soft paintbrush. Just go over it basically in the direction that a record would go on it. my my cheapo paintbrush is coming apart here. Maybe I'm making it worse. Okay, let's see what that looks like now. Where are you, needle? What you're looking at is the surface of some tape they used to stick the needle on. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay, let me get my fingers off this tape. And then I'll use the adjustments on the microscope to move it. So, okay, a little cleaner. You can see because of the way I did it, on the lee side of the left needle, there's still dirt there because I didn't sweep across that part. But now we can look much more closely at the needle. So let's start with the one on the left side. And I would say the tip is missing. Now it's just possible that that tip is the actual diamond part missing. I'm not sure. I don't think that whole cone there is diamond. I think the very end where it just goes flat is actually where the diamond would have been glued on. So this is the one that's not farthest out on this on the lever. Let's look at the other one now. So the other one, why the red color there? I mean, it's if there's a sapphire point, I think it's the very end. In fact, am I seeing things? You can kind of see through the materials. Whoops, you can see right through them. The very tip, though, I think is the diamond or sapphire. So that point looks good. So we've got one side good, one side not good. I would certainly say this other side not good. Now what's going on right at the bottom of the screen? We'll go all the way down this shaft here. We meet up with this part. So of course the needle has to wiggle a little bit and deliver its wiggle into the cartridge. I'm pretty sure this would be a crystal cartridge. Not necessarily, but this is, this is where the other one broke, right there, right at that spot. So it really looks like a shaft shoved in a shaft. And I think you can see the meniscus of glues. Same thing with the needle. It looks like there's some kind of a gluing material that's been put on it. So the good needle is good. It's clean and everything. No reason to worry about that, as long as that's the one that's being played. And that's the one that's furthest out. Good. Thought it might be good to rummage through my record player parts here. And these are all drive wheels, or intermediate wheels, and perhaps I have a replacement for the one that's in there. It's possible. This one's right in the bag. They call it an idler wheel, but I think the proper name is intermediate wheel. Long list of different players. It can go in, but we'd have to do some careful comparisons. Now, I do have some needles in here. Don't have a lot, certainly not that one. have this memory that I have something in here that might be a replacement. Not that it's really needed. There's a good chance that needle is going to go for, well, a diamond needle is good for about 1,000 LPs. Now that's at 33 speed. At 78, if you just imagine the forces are far greater, the wear forces are far greater. No. Here we are. These are the ones I thought might be it. Nope. Nope. I think that's all I've got. Oh no, I got some more. Nope. 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 And what? Missing. Oh, it's there. All plastic. No, I do not have a replacement. There's 1,000 cartridges, or more than 1,000. There's thousands of cartridges, and I think these are empty. So the chances of me having the needle here is nil, but you can probably get one off the internet. Mr. Internet that tends to have this kind of stuff, but I don't. $64.10. But I might have an idle wheel. Let's check into that. You know, a good question would be, even if I have one, even if it's brand new, NOS, new old stock, would it be any different than the one that's in here? One thing that can happen with these is they can be left in contact with the motor spindle and develop a thump. So I'm just feeling it. Feels just fine. So the record players need to be in the real off position when they're done. A lot of these have little kickers that will kick this wheel away, literally, so it's not pushing up against this. So if you just kind of stop your record halfway through, turn the power off, and put your record player away for 6 months, you may not be too happy at what happens in the result. Now let's just check this again. I mean, it was playing. I didn't do the traction test. This doesn't feel bad. I'm just feeling the way my nail drags on it. It doesn't feel bad. Another way is to put a little pressure on it and rub it against the spindle. I think this is in really good shape. So why so much noise coming out of this thing? It was just rumbling along like crazy. Could be dirty ball bearings down there. Could be that when this is spinning at 78, the slight variations in it that are bound to be there are enough to cause the noise we were hearing. It sounded more like shaky parts, didn't it? I don't know. Let's play this again. Okay, I'm going to play this so we'll listen more carefully and try to figure out where the noises come from. So the idea, of course, is the motor is driving this wheel, and this wheel is running on the inside of the rim. So it's called a rim drive record player. Well, because the drive system is hooked up to the platter, and the record's sitting on top, and the needle's on top of that, any noise in the platter is going to come right through and out your speakers. That's the concern, anyway. Okay, drop this in. I'm not putting the clip on, it doesn't have to be there. And we still have it on 78, which would be the worst case. Now there's a chance it's going to try to, with this arm up, it will try to replay whatever record's on there over and over. You might say at this point, how does it know you're putting on a 10-inch record as opposed to a 12-inch? So back here is the 12-inch detector. So when the 12-inch record drops, it hits this kicker, and that tells the record player it's a 12-inch, and then the needle will stop here instead of stopping here. For a 45, they didn't, I was going to say they didn't exist, but it's got a 45 speed here. So it may have, it has a feeler. So during the operation of the record player, the initial operation, this will come up and feel if there's a record here hanging over the edge. Is that true? Am I shooting the bull here? can't see it, but it's going to come up right here and feel. So 12-inch, 10-inch, and if it's neither of those, well, it's got to be a 45. So then the player should move in to hit the 45. 45s came out, I'm not sure, 1948. 45s come out with that large circle in the middle, and you have to put one of those, they're usually a yellow thing in it to play it on here. That was somebody's attempt to take over the record industry. They introduce a different size record, runs at a different speed, and has a different kind of center. And then they produced record players that would do it. And they were going to steal the business. Didn't really work out because somebody came up with a little plastic thing you could pop in the middle. So if you kind of always wondered what's going on there, you can also just drop a plastic piece, you know, a lot of record players had them, over top of the spindle, and it would sit there the size of the 45 hole. So, and whoever tried to take it over really failed miserably. I think that's the only way to describe that. Maybe they were trying to get patents. You know, there was a lot of patent going on in this kind of work, radios, everything. Patented circuits, patented things that put these tubes all the way in. Wow, that's a really gripping tube socket there. Okay. The objective now is to try to figure out where's all the rumbling and crashing noises coming from in this record player. So, is everything safe? We don't have anything in any stupid place. We still don't have the needle returned. That's okay. We're not going to let that hit the record. That's my plan anyway. At 78, everything happens pretty quick. And there's a chance whenever you power these things up, they may just go right into operation right away. You never know. Okay, so, but I'll turn this off, so it shouldn't. Okay. It's not as noisy as I thought. What's with all that? Where'd the hum come from? How come so different? Maybe the hum was there and I didn't notice it before? Dirty volume control here. Everybody stand back. Stand back a bit. Well, I don't remember all that scratchy sound. Tube in the socket. Ooh. That capacitor that's loose in there. I'm worried some of the wires might be doing stuff. Yeah, I think it's, the tube is not making great contact in the socket. I think that's all it is. Okay, what about the noise? So since it's not going to try to play the record, we can take this off. Quite a distinct hum. I didn't notice it last time. What has happened? Now, we're going to change speeds here. A lot of these record players, you should not change the speed unless it's operating, because the idler wheel has to climb up and down the spindle. So if the record player is not spinning, if the motor's not spinning, then especially when it comes down to meet a larger diameter, it'll get caught on the edge. It won't be able to get there. With it spinning, it'll just climb over. So that's why if you try to change the speed when it's not operating, you might find you can't even do it. So that's 45. That wild sound in between I don't think is very important. That's 33. Now we're going to do a traction test. I'm going to drag my finger on the platter and just feel. That's not bad. Now some record players where the traction's really poor, that would have stopped the platter for sure. Oh yeah, it's got the power. Let's make it cycle a record, and I'll catch the arm because it's at 33. It's going to go fairly slow. So I'm watching for this to slow down. You see it slowing down a bit. Okay, so it tried to play a 45 because neither of these indicators operated. They both indicated no 12 inch, no 10 inch. Okay, now we'll get it to return. The return often is even harder, so we'll see if the platter keeps going. It's struggling a bit. Okay. So it tried playing it again because this arm is up. So we're going to drop the arm. See, the records sit on this little edge here. As long as the arm is above this edge, it thinks there's records on here. When the arm drops below, it now knows there can't be a record up here. Okay, go again. Prove me wrong. It's really struggling there. Boom. Maybe I just kind of ignored the hum sound. All that's easy to fix up, assuming the hum is from the power supply, which I think it is, the power supply in the amplifier. There really isn't any specific thing I could say is making all the noise. I'm sure this wasn't silent when it was new even, but probably quieter. A lot of heat coming up from those tubes down there. So I think what needs to be done is just a regular, everyday, run-of-the-mill maintenance on this, which is basically lubrication, cleaning and lubrication. Don't think we need to worry about this wheel. I think once we have it lubricated, and I know exactly which spot will cause this arm to struggle its way back. Once we get all that lubricated, we'll probably find everything just operates nice and smooth, but still makes the same noise. Well, the clock is telling me it's time for lunch, so I think I'm going to quit for today on this project and carry on tomorrow with it. Tomorrow will be the fix-up day, so I'll fix up the amplifier, fix up the record player a little bit, and see if we don't solve the hum, and maybe improve the fidelity a bit, although we didn't, can't expect too much from a record player like this. By the way, one of the most important ways these record players, the way you quiet them down, because of all the mechanical noise that's in something like this, is you put it in a box with a lid. You close the lid while you're playing the record, which is exactly what the cabinet is all about for this guy. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching, and we'll finish up tomorrow, and then after that it's back to German radios again. See ya.